This is fun. The AP poll gives seven Big 12 teams, top 28 slots. If you count those first three out, Utah, Baylor, and BYU. Shehan Jayarasha pointed out the Big 10 only got 6. Well, the Big 12 a little bit deeper this year. Did you think the AP poll was fair to the Big 12 conference?
Not entirely. I didn't think it was hilariously disrespectful.
I agree.
I didn't think it was perfect. I thought Kansas State was a touch low. I thought Texas Tech
at 17?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they were a touch low. I really like Kansas State this year. I thought Texas Tech was a touch low. Because here's the thing on the Tech factor. I also just realized something tragic. Oh, no. Oh, no. Drake, we have the same preseason top team in the Big 12 again. Oh, no.
Stop it.
Oh, no. Oh, that's Red Raiders fans. I'm so sorry. Ask Utah fans what happened last year, and they will probably tell you that Drake and I are the bane of their existence. So
and Kansas and
Kansas. Yeah. So anyway, just had that realization in real time. So the logic that is being applied to put Oklahoma into the top 20 is not being granted to Texas Tech, which is, I think, the biggest example and the best example of what I'm talking about with regards to where the AP poll, the preseason is flawed. The preseason AP poll. Can I try English?
Really
I'm so close. I'm so close. Which is where I think the preseason AP poll is flawed. Can I get a round of applause, please?
Nicely done.
So Oklahoma is a team I do actually like. I think they are an 8-win team or so in the SEC, not in the college football playoff. And I'm not going down the John Mateer rabbit hole here. So
it's an inside joke. It's just a game with my buddy.
It's an inside joke. That's why we're not explaining it. It's an inside joke. So the logic that I think the AP voters are applying to Oklahoma is, they weren't great last year, but they kind of showed some flashes, and then they went out and had a great offseason. Tell me how that doesn't apply to Texas Tech, who had a better record last year. Oh, but the SEC. Yeah, okay. Oklahoma lost to Navy to end the season. And that isn't being considered in the Oklahoma calculation. But what is being considered is, Michigan was hot to end the year. And look, they beat Alabama over there. Well, hold on. Vanderbilt beat Alabama last year. Now, admittedly, that's a bowl team, but still, That's a thing that happened. Michigan's all the way up at 14. Florida's all the way up at 15, because we just forget the first half of college football seasons. Like, if you want to make the argument for the Gators and the Sooners being in the top 25, fine. I think you can make that argument. I think it's easier to do with Florida, frankly, than it is with Oklahoma, because I've seen DJ Lagway win games in the SEC at quarterback. I have not seen John Mateer take a single snap against an SEC defense.
And maybe he won't.
He will, but I think he can be good, just to be clear. I just don't know that 100%. Cam Ward wound up being the number 1 overall pick. Go look at his first 6 games in his first season at Washington State in the Pac-12, RIP, and his last 6 games. There were vast discrepancies there. So there can be an adjustment phase when you take that step up, is all I'm saying. So those were the biggest objections I had. Florida, Oklahoma, Michigan, way too high. Texas Tech, too low. Frankly, I'm happy Kansas State got into the top 20. They deserve it. You're going into year 3 starting Avery Johnson. You have got a proven winner who's won a conference championship within the last 4 seasons. You've got a roster that I think has got enough playmakers to go and win games. You've got a schedule that's incredibly, incredibly beneficial in my view. And so you can phrase, your vote however you like. Is it based on where you think they're going to end up or where you think they should be going into the year? I am more in camp 1. I'm happy Arizona State was barely outside the top 10. I didn't seriously object to them being outside the top 10. They were the only reigning conference champ to not be in there, I believe, at the Power 4 level, because Clemson is in the top 10, Oregon's in the top 10, and Georgia is in the top 10, deservedly so. So if you'd like to frame that as anti-Big 12 bias, I don't know that I'd have a great argument to push back. I just think being in 11, think you're kind of splitting hairs at that point. If Arizona State were outside the top 12, I would find that to be more objectionable.
Where I get a little sad is having the 3 teams, the first 3 out, when there's not a number by your name. We don't have to justify moving you up in the AP poll. So, for example, let's say the number 24 team in the country loses in week 1. It's not a guarantee that Baylor or BYU or Utah get to fill that spot and jump in the top 25. If they were sitting at number 25, they do. They're not going to be bumped out. Now, automatically, because of the optic, you're starting to leapfrog people and move your way up. So it's almost like those 3 spots don't really exist that much. They don't have to. They're not set in stone. And 2, when you don't have the number by your name, but Boise State does, you don't get a ranked win for your opponent. The Big 12 doesn't get ranked wins. We're not setting ourselves up to have ranked wins. And hopefully by the time we get to conference play, we get there. But even worse, our opening conference game is a game ranked versus ranked, and the loser probably drops out of the top 25.
Which is ridiculous.
There's a really good chance that happens. And that's where I think the Big 12 ultimately loses in the AP poll.
I think the only way it's justifiable to drop the loser of Farmageddon out of the top 25 right away is if they're trounced. If you get housed, okay, maybe we were wrong on you, but if this game comes down to a field goal that does or does not go in, are you telling me that suddenly shouldn't count as a ranked win for one of the teams and that another team should be perceptionally that much further away from being one of the 15 to 20 best teams in college football? I don't think so. And I think it's great that we have this matchup early in the year. I think if you lose a second game within the next couple weeks, okay, now you can be dropped out of the top 25 because results do need to matter. But I mean, how far are Texas or Oklahoma, or not Ohio State? How far are Texas or Ohio State going to drop when one of those teams loses their week 1 bout, number 1 versus number 3?
2 spots.
Do you think it'll be that far?
Yeah.
I think Texas could drop to number 3 and just swap places with Ohio State. I could see that happen. I think Texas is going to win the game, so we don't have to worry about that. But Ohio State comes in preseason number 3. If they lose to number 1, even though it's at home, yeah, maybe they go down to number 5. But should they really drop it all? If it's a close game, you lose by 14 and 20 points, different conversation.
Yeah, that it's maybe part of that is the whole Big 12. Part of that is the Big 12 thing. If Arizona State was number 3 preseason and lost to number 1, they're going to drop more than 2 spots. Brands matter in the AP poll. Brands matter in these rankings. What you've done last year and the 5 years, 10 years prior, that goes a long way. And that's why I think the Big 12 doesn't get a fair shake, is because for every 2 or 3 years, Iowa State goes 8-4, 9-3, 10-2. They have one like they had in 2022 where they go 3-9. And then we just set ourselves back. And Kansas State goes 8-4, and you end up at 24 at best in the poll, and you set yourself back. That's not good.
No, I don't think that it is. I agree with you on the brand power thing, because give me the non-SEC brand, SEC Big Ten brands that could go 6-7, 8-5, and 8-5, and be inside the top 20. Oklahoma, Florida, and Michigan. All 3 get that benefit of the doubt. I understand why. Not that I agree with it, because I don't. And again, it's not like you can't see some projection of progress for Florida and for Oklahoma or Michigan, for that matter, and say, yeah, we think they're going to be better in this regard. Florida could have a nasty receiving core, really talented quarterback, who again hasn't even started yet a full season of college football. I've watched Avery Johnson do it, just to be clear. And since, wins are what kind of drive this thing as much as anything else, I think Avery Johnson is going to be able to lead Kansas State to a whole heck of a lot of wins. And I think that's the other way that the polls can get skewed at times, particularly with the AP, which does matter. Some people are basing it on who I think will be good, and some people are basing it on who deserves to be in that spot. Because if you're talking for a preseason ranking, deserving to be in that spot is based on what you did the year before. Then Oklahoma shouldn't be a top 25 team. But Oklahoma went out and had a really good offseason and got one of the best quarterbacks that moved in the portal and got a great running back from the Pac-12, RIP, and did a lot of really good things. And Deion Burks is still there. Okay, those are tangibly good moves. But I think that inconsistency is why you see some of these rankings not make sense. Why is Tech at 23 compared to Oklahoma at 18? That's too big of a gap for two programs that just did the same thing, except Texas Tech won more games last year.
And had a better portal class, by the way.
Yes, and had a better transfer portal class. And I know what the argument is from the SEC crowd. And it's, the SEC is tougher. The SEC has a tougher schedule and all that. To which I say, well, I watched the non-conference results last year for the SEC, and they kind of stunk. And then the postseason rolled around, and they didn't make the title game again. So what exactly are we basing it on? Well, the last 15 to 20 years, but isn't the preseason AP pool supposed to be based off of last season and what you did this offseason? Anyway.
Coming up, strength of schedule is rigged. Locked on Big 12, locked on college football. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel has a brand new, incredible promotion. August 26th is FanDuel Futures Day, brand new holiday for football fans across the country. For 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. Whether you're calling the MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or have your Super Bowl champion, this is your moment. Crown your champion in August, even if it's the Dallas Cowboys. Visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now. Visit Futures Day because Futures Day is one day and one day only, August 26th. FanDuel, play your game with FanDuel.